This is a presidential primary election. Donald J. Trump carrying the authorization of executive order holding the 45th presidency, 2017, 18, 19, and 20. 17, 18, 19, and 2020. And then 2021, 22, 23 to 4, and also the president's primary election, authorizing the 47th presidential election. Now, the business license, business uniform code, policy regulation at SOS WGov Corps 509-765-4451, 509-765-6019. The authorization of SOS WGov Corps. That's Kim Wayman, Secretary of State Steve Hobbs, 801 Capway, South P.O. Box 40234, Olympia, Washington 98504. And Kim Wayman, Secretary of State Steve Hobbs, and Department of License Department, carrying that authorization and service at 704 East Olive Mills Lake, Washington. Presidential primary election, authorization and service and policy regulation, authorization at the 704 East Olive Mills Lake, Washington, carrying authorization and carrying that implemented COVID-19. 2017, 18, 19, and 20. 2021, 22, 23, and 24 presidential primary election, which is the 47th presidential primary election. Donald J. Trump. And the executive order and the memorabilia and policy regulation authorized of a timeline that's been erased and bringing to their information center July 13, 2024, the executive president's primary assassination plot, which measured and directed and brought much havoc in policy regulation and services. You got Ted Cruz, Senate. And Ted Cruz, we had major downloading, submitting emails, confirmation, signature verification, disclosed in front of Senator Cruz. The Republican National Committee realized that Donald J. Trump was assassinated on July 13. Their whereabouts, their abouts, the circumstances, the transactions, the rifle, the AR-14, AR-15, 220.223, which is a round, high velocity round, high grade round, and also the AR-14-15 is converted into multitasking bolt action on semi-automatic features. Well, John Luke McKinnon's office, this authorization carrying a policy regulation, assumptions and services, decorations, 509-765-44 McKinnon Law Firm at a policy regulation and services, approving all executive orders authorized to 2017, 18, 19, and 20. And of course, 2021, 22, 3, and 4. And the presidential primary election being much of policy regulation and services and testimony, array services at 509-765-4451, and bringing a DAWS, a journal report, to bring much of the individual automatic downloads, to bring much of the testimony in McKinnon Law Firm at 509-765-4451 and 509-765-6019. Authorization of an executive order from a fax machine that's been purchased and used, and also the data that's been removed out of the McKinnon Law Firm, and then brought into contents information, how they erase information, bring the automated transaction reports at 509-765-4451, and then automated at Benton County Justice Department at 7112 West Okanagan Place, Kennewick, Washington, 509-765-4451, fax 509-765-6019 at Benton County Justice Department, 7112 West Okanagan Place, Kennewick, Washington, 99336, and matching that confirmation FedEx UPS confirmation signature at a direct EFT transactions, Policy Regulation and Service at a Direct EFT Transaction Policy Regulation Administration Office at a law firm, bringing that testimony and raised service of direct deposit EFT transactions, and making it aware that a direct deposit EFT transaction from a Social Security office, and carrying much of that testimony and service administration office at McKen Law Firm at 509-765-4451, fax 509-765-6019. Business license and renewal McKen Law Firm at PS Corps, McKen PS Corps. And also the license and registration forms department, license department, recording that at City Hall, and then go straight to City Hall, George Washington House, number 42, of course. And the Policy Regulation Administration Office, and carrying that authorization and personal increments of society of a direct deposit EFT transaction. And make also, on top it off, bringing the policy regulation and service of a URL confirmation signature verification to automatic download. And then Windows 10, 11, and Microsoft components and service at a Freda Courthouse at 509, 35 C Street Northwest, Freda, Washington 98823, and being a confirmation signature verification policy at a McKen Law Firm at 509-765-6019, and bringing the policy regulation to direct deposit. This driveway was done with gravel. This whole driveway was laid out with gravel, laid out with a shovel and spread, individually putting all this time and millions upon millions and millions upon millions, and then going to the Exxon Mobil company called ConocoPhillips, and then spreading all this gravel out and downloading and submitting the driveway, and then curb setting, and then installing the sprinkler systems and water lines. Somebody came here and blew out the water lines without any kind of permission or waste services, and when all that backed up, it backed up all the way into McKen Law Firm. That plumbing, that water line, that toilet, the sink, the water heater, the propane line, backed all up. It backed up so bad. The water systems and the breaker systems, the propane lines, and also the propane line had to be reset and re-put in. A water line, and then turn the water on and bleed everything out. The policy regulation, and inject all the water lines back into the propane line, into the propane canister, and have the water kick back on. And then come to the utility office, and this utility office, let them know that the propane lines, and somebody broke the water lines, and got into the water lines, got into the internet systems. And then the fax machine was missing, and the policy regulation also, the direct deposit and fax confirmation internet system, Microsoft program, is intertwined for a direct EFT transaction at Social Security office in Kennewick, Washington. Now the policy regulation or aware services, people make things up every way, shape, and way and form to bring for them to get the upper hand. And what kind of a scrutiny plan they mastermind, making things up, as you can tell. A direct deposit EFT transaction at McKen Law Firm at 509-765-4451, Mr. Lloyd Austin. Now, Mr. Lloyd Austin carries a policy regulation service with executive order, realizing that direct deposit EFT transaction is documented through a box, a federal mailbox for that matter. And that federal mailbox has scan codes, direct deposits, EFT transactions, Monterey direct, FedEx, UPS confirmation signature at a physical address, at a law firm, at a FedEx, UPS office, and authorizing of signing UPS confirmation signature with signature confirmation and direct deposits, and bringing much of that testimony and service for a direct deposit EFT transaction. That this is 704 South Most Lake, Washington. It's Lloyd Austin. Now, the Department of Defense, of course, Norman J. Manis was Department of Defense, Lloyd Austin, Department of Defense, Mark Miley, Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and also the Joint Chiefs, NATO admirals, and also the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and also Coast Guard, and also the natural disaster, the policy regulation of wind blowing, and tornadoes, and hurricanes, and all those such manner fines on the guidelines of OSHA ordinance. Since the oil company, ExxonMobil, used to be called ExxonMobil, now it's called ConocoPhillips, and Stratford Road in Moses Lake, Washington. You know, the confirmation and signature verification of policy, regulation, and services, bringing much of that testimony service aware of what, when, where, how, and how much, and when and where and how and what time, and you know, all these situated services from Microsoft and Apple, which Microsoft bought Apple because Bill Gates, formerly 1835 73rd Avenue, bought Apple. So they bought Apple and they downloaded Apple and had apps downloaded onto your window, onto your Microsoft server, Microsoft onto your Apple through Microsoft, and those copyrights and those rights, those services are activated and permanently on your window, and they come here and break a window out to fabricate rights over a Microsoft window, which formerly Donald Trump, Executive Order Donald J. Trump, former President of the United States of America, you have to download video URL, confirmation, signature verification, credit card, checkbooks, business license. Right now, checks out to employees and checks out to policy, regulations, and services. You know, you have to submit information from one channel to another channel, and then direct deposit one recollection port to one recollection port. And then template after template, and then screen process after screen process. You know, one thing leads to another. I gotta do this manually, directly, at a McKinnon law firm at 509-765-4441. Modem, a direct EFT, a rotor, activation, window, over a policy, regulation, and service administration office, a business license, issued by Teresa Brinkston, Kim Wayman, and Governor Jay Inslee. And then issued another one that's Steve Hobbs, Secretary of State, and also Marcus J. Glassberg, Department License. And then Governor Jay Inslee again, the Governor of Washington State. You know, this is how corrupted they are at a policy legislation office, policy regulation, and executive order, which is called COVID authorization by President Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump carries a series of becoming President of the United States in 2017, 18, 19, 20. And then 2021, 2, 3, 4. Running for President of the United States of America, the 47th President of the United States of America. And manually doing this was stopping the, trying to stop downloads, having information erased. To make things difficult, they go out of their way to stop downloading, submitting information on every crack and any of a campaign authorization. Erasing information for their personal gain, for their political gains, whatever matter it might be, Senate, Democratic Party, Republican Party, whatever they're gaining to substitute the individual that brought the contents of information and making information difficult to be obtained, and then they erase it on the contents of information of Donald Trump's assassination. His assassination plot of July 13, 2024 is a series. It's an active thing. It's a continuous matter. In a continuous matter, they come here in McKenna Law Firm and take the business license and business license terminals, wiring, components, and services, and make things more difficult for family members. As you can remember, John F. Kennedy's building at 8, of course, 8-3, the federal building in Richland, Washington, and that's Jadwin. And Jadwin has 824, 825 Jadwin. And Jadwin has a federal building, Kennedy. Well, authorization and personal and policy regulations and services bring havoc in situation to a matter. And Mr. Norman J. Mattis, he's carrying those consequences. Mr. Andy Miller, Washington State Prosecutor, carrying that consequences. Washington State Prosecutor, Mr. Norman J. Mattis. We got photographs, we got intellectual conversations, we got facts, confirmation, signature verification, and policy regulations. And this is 509-765-44 from John Luke McKinnon's office in Moses Lake, Washington. The Washington Bar Association is 13294 SOS WAG Corps, SOSY Gov Corps. That's 801 Capitol Way, South P.O. Box 40234, Olympia, Washington 9850. Olympia, Washington. That's the zip code. Now, this confirmation signature verification, Dana Garth is the prosecutor of Grant County here, and 35 C Street, Northwest, Alfredo, Washington 98823. We got Melissa McLean, Barbara Vasquez, CMC, and which is services for the board. And then we got Larissa Perez, we got Bob Perkuski, we got Bob Hope, we got Carol Rivera, and also Melissa McKnight, auditor services. We got the policy regulator McKenna Law Firm at 509-765-4441, business license here. And formally, they made things difficult to manually have something downloaded, submitted, and brought up and brought into consequences and services of erasing stuff, whatever brings them to their discretionary services, making things difficult for Carol, people that better themselves, of getting rid of information and still in their way and going out of their way to make things difficult. making things difficult for people that carrying out Donald Trump's assassination. They bring any discretionary way in services. They don't care what it takes. It's pretty self-explanatory how they brought Donald Trump to Pennsylvania, Commonwealth state, and have him assassinated. And they're still doing everything in their power to erase him, even though he does not know what he's up against until it's too late. So they really come in here and make things up, better themselves, and make consequences more or less better, or offset themselves to put them at a better position to take another shot at Donald Trump in every shape and way and form. So that's how corrupted they are in the system. They bring much of their testimony and services at a McKenna law firm at 509-765 FedEx UPS Confirmation Service and Policy Regulation and Service in McKenna law firm, 45th, 46th President of the United States of America. You know, by abiding by the Constitution, they're replacing Department of Defense, and Department of Defense staff representing the President of the United States of America, and then throwing chaos and havoc of authorization of assassinating the President of the United States of America, and then bring it to a McKenna law firm and then situate the situation to better set themselves at 509-765-4445. We got the modem, you got rotor, you got North propane lines, you got natural gas, you got offsetting the propane, taking air compressor hose, and then manage the way to squirm their way into this office and manipulate the situation by getting into the files and systems like Grant County Courthouse or Benton County Justice Department and the federal courthouse, Kennedy Building. You know, Donald Trump has an attorney, a lawyer, pleaded not guilty. He pleads not guilty to all charges. This is the 45th, 47th President of the United States of America, and making witnesses and testimony in McKenna law firm at 509-765-4451.